So guys, we wanted to make a new introduction to a car that is on the channel, of which is most definitely someday going to have a V8. Now right now, don't hate on it as much, okay? A legitimate vehicle that I got for my kids to drive and that they are learning how to drift. If you guys haven't seen that, check out Liam the Little Savage. My 9-year-old can absolutely tear up a car, and he's like a mini Cletus in the fact that he blew a head gasket one of his first times out, and so that is why the car is here. So guys, this is our 350Z. We got it from a good friend of ours named Juan, and it already had some Fasterproms stuff on it. So he's a good buddy of ours, and we've done a lot of tuning for a shop that he works at there. The cold air that I had on here, and I'm gonna bust on Juan a little bit here, it was a cut up piece of like scrap stuff, so I made that a little bit better. Yes. And I did the typical Nissan thing that they do for the Ram Air, but I'm telling you, it made a big difference. So guys, we are all about trying to make more and more power. The guys that we know at LOJ really want to see some sort of LS powered engine in this thing. The one I had done last year for a customer of his turned out so awesome. It was 500 wheel, an absolute monster. One of the easiest things to drift ever. Definitely check out that video, it's so much fun. So this car that we got from Juan is just a completely killer.
This is a drift car, dude, 100%. We got the brake.
Yeah.
We got the freaking hearse shifter on there.
I know you like that, boy.
It's got exhaust.
Yeah, it's got headers and full exhaust. It's got the angle kit. Oh man, it's got that classic DQ. Oh boy, it's got the stank on it. You cannot beat this for the amount of money that we have in it. So George, last night also, you were helping me really quick because we had a tight time crunch there. We had an old methanol kit, and we're going to use the washer bottle of that with our pump that we typically don't use because we like our alky control kits really good, but we're gonna use that pump, drill the holes, and we're gonna be able to squirt water on the tires. It's gonna basically make this thing feel like it has a whole bunch more power than what it actually does, because Lord knows it needs it. Now Laz, we got something for you here, okay? Laz, you've been porting since what, 2004? Something like that?
It's not.
Dang.
Back in the day.
All right, so Laz has been porting since 2004, and he was our sole porter for a long while. So Laz can pretty well judge a cylinder head about how it's gonna flow and so on and so forth. And George has been porting for about 2 years, and he's done incredibly well. But he's had some pretty good teachers, might say. And last, what we're gonna do here is we are working on the BMW cylinder head, of which Liam popped. We're gonna try and get that thing really cooking well. George is gonna port the first port. I'm gonna give him 30 minutes time, all right? Now what we're gonna do is he's gonna seal up his port, and I'm gonna have nothing to go on, and I'm just gonna port it to the best of what I feel it needs. And you're gonna be the judge. What do you say?
Interesting. You have a little bit more experience on go-kart heads, and I think that's going to give you a little bit of edge on this.
Let's go take a look at that cylinder head. So guys, on that BMW 3-liter inline 6 dual overhead cam, right here is the ports of what we're going to try to optimize. So George is going to do one, and we'll cap it up, okay? So we'll basically, I'm not gonna be able to cheat and see exactly what he did.
We'll have a tamper-proof seal on there.
Tamper-proof seal, I like the idea. And then I'm going to do the port, and then we're gonna have Laz judge. Okay. George, you're going on 2 years of experience porting. I've been porting since the 2000s, but I've been a little rusty, so...
Plus, this is totally different from any LS head by a long shot.
It is, and I mean, guys, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's a Nissan, a BMW, a four-wheeler. We want to make as much power as we possibly can, and it's just all about optimization with it. All right, so guys, we're going to very briefly discuss some of the shortcomings of what we see and what we're going to try and optimize. Now, however, here is the trick right here too. We got a different intake manifold that does not belong on this car. It's from an earlier gen, and allegedly it makes a bunch more power upstairs. That intake manifold is the M50 intake manifold. This has a smaller throttle body. We may do some stuff later on down the road to try and make that better. We got about a 3-knuckle width right there, and that is not anywhere near. So that is a vast difference right at where the flange is for that. So guys, as this is flowing in, we can see certain areas that are going to hurt airflow. This is a very nice area at the back of the bowl right there, but that can most certainly be opened up a little bit more. But this angle and right in there, we can open up that guide quite a bit. Help some airflow around that corner as well. What do you say, George?
Oh, I'm ready.
Yeah, got a couple ideas up here in your head you're thinking about, I know.
I think if we put this new intake manifold and open it up a little bit, I think that intake's going to be a big difference, don't you?
Yeah, no, absolutely. But let's look at the exhaust next. I mean, me personally, I feel like the exhaust is probably going to be one of the restrictions. So guys, with our experience of porting heads, the better the intake, the more torque that we're going to make. Now, if we have a very decently, proportionately sized exhaust, we'll be able to carry that power later and later in the RPM band. And that's really what we want. Ideally, if we can get this thing together and hopefully make somewhere in the neighborhood of about anywhere between 250 to 270 wheel horsepower, naturally aspirated with a 3-liter, we are going to raise the compression. We're going to do a valve job on it. And
see if we can get it twist a little faster, right?
Absolutely. So guys, as we're looking right here, this is certainly a restrictive area of which I want to optimize. Raising the roof right here is also going to be able to help that top end flow. The short side really doesn't feel that bad. However, if we can open up the bowl quite a bit more, really be able to have that balloon out and then taper a bit, I think we should be able to support a very decent amount of power upstairs. That right there, there's certainly some meat that we can gain, some flow right there, and just rounding off the guides quite a bit. I get a feeling you're going to be a little bit more gutsy and be able to, you're going to dive into the guides a little bit more. I think I'm going to probably shape up the exhaust port a little bit different. However, Laz is going to be our judge. We'll see how this whole thing works out.
So you're taking 30 minutes to do your best on this?
Yeah, and George, do you think that's going to be enough time?
I mean, after the competition, I'm definitely going to probably have to go back and
yeah, that's probably it's going to be like a K-core type thing or something where it's like, is it the best thing you could do? No. Is it the best you could do in that time? That's what it's going to have to be. That's exactly what we're up against. It's going to be more a race against the clock.
This is going to be a really cool competition.
This is going to be a bit of choice.
Oh, look at this. He's already cheating at it. I know. All right, so I mean, there's a time and a place to use this. So I mean, in certain areas that you can't reach and you don't want to take any more out, like on the short side. So as you're trying to reach around that corner right there, that would be a bit that I would use. And in certain places on the exhaust, I'm going to use that as well. So I'm a little rusty. George has been doing this pretty darn frequently, but let's see. You know, can the student teach the master?
No, kimosabe.
Yeah. All right, so neat little trick if you guys start to do some porting. These are carbide bits. Each one does have a totally different function. We like, you know, sometimes a double cut. So this is a, I don't know if I'd call that a pine cone style one, but this, if you'll note the difference, is a double cut. You can see the differences. They do cut very differently. But again, this one would be fantastic for the job of doing the short side radius, and the fact when you're dragging this back, you are radiusing something more where that is touching and less towards the end so you don't gouge something. That's pretty nice. That's pretty nice. All right.
It's where we're hoping it'll fall.
The air speeds up faster and faster as it tapers down towards the back of the valve.
Physics.
So the airflow matters more and more as we get to the back of the valve. So what we're trying to do is, while it looks like that would be so incredibly crucial to gasket match that, we might hit water. We don't want to do that. We're going to try and maybe split the difference, radius it, but make it a nice funnel all the way down to the back of the valve with 0 intake restrictions as much as possible. All right, and we're off.
Here we go.
I'm gonna go find an air horn. In 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, take a hike.
Notice posture. That's a professional porter. I'm gonna come back periodically, but I'm not going to look at the final thing. He's gonna cap it all up, and then it'll be my turn.
I'm off schedule, I can tell you that much.
4, 3, 2, 1. Porter, put your tool down.
Could have used much more time.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm not looking at it really intently, but it looks like you got a pretty thorough job. So no sanding. I think that's totally fair. It's the shape of the port as much, and George, so we have a theory
100%.
about the golf ball thing. We have done some golf ball stuff. So guys, the golf ball theory is such that if you dimple the port, especially the intake port, that the air will actually flow over better than a perfectly smooth, like mirror finish, super smooth finish port, period. Plus there's other tests that have happened that somebody ported a set of cylinder heads, flow tested it, dyno tested it, whatever, went back in, made a mirror finish, and saw zero gain whatsoever. So between that, some of the other stuff that we've tested, and some of the, actually a golf ball cylinder head that I tested on the dyno, it really did work a hell of a lot better. I mean, it made a bunch more power, and it did seem to support the theory. Well, hell, man, we don't even really need to sand this, and we, you know, that's fine. This is kind of just something that we're trying to optimize. Just the ugly stuff.
We don't even sand our own stuff. The heads on my truck are just...
Yeah, just cut. I see you got into the guides pretty good. I like it. I like it. Sorry, that's enough of my cheating.
So much for not looking.
You tape that up. So it's pretty easy to make fun of George for sitting there hitting all the poses and whatever, but I was like, that's awesome. I do the same thing. And it's really fascinating to see how fast he was moving through that. And guys, with porting, it's something that you shouldn't be afraid to tackle, but you definitely can mess up something. It just... You got to kind of start slow. The way George was moving was fast. You not want to stay in one particular area very long, otherwise you might blow through that material too quickly. That being said, he was moving pretty rapidly, and he probably got a pretty nice, even,
smooth... You want to show him my first set of heads?
We should. But, I mean, the set of, was it LS7s or LS3s that are out there? They look freaking gorgeous, dude.
Oh, those are nice.
Yeah, those are really nice. All right, so let's do the good one first.
Experience.
Oh, that's LS7?
Yeah.
Whoa. All right, so that is absolutely beautiful. This is basically about an 80 plus, maybe a 90% done port job. But intake and exhaust port, let's look at the exhaust port, because that is freaking beautiful, man. That's a big freaking port, man. But that's what we found makes the best power on an LS7.
And then
now,
back in the shed days,
come a long way from this.
Well,
so on that same note of staying in an area possibly a little too long.
Yeah. Let's see here. Oh, you can see clear as day right there.
Oh, ouch. Yeah, that's going to be tough to weld up. That might be a $200 paperweight right there.
They leave it here for I can look at it every day.
Shame you with it as you walk by. All right, well, it's my turn now. Let's get to this. I'm going to get all the tools ready in 30 minutes.
I don't even know.
You can't
I'm not looking. I mean, I'm kind of looking, but I'm not.
Can't look.
Kind of looking, but I'm kind of not.
So, the wizard at it again. Those heat shield
I feel like
glasses.
the wizard now. It's been a while, man. Ready, set, go. All right, here we go.
Moving along pretty quick. Oh boy.
How much time I got? I haven't looked.
This is 10-minute mark here, so you got 20. There you go.
I got some ideas as it's going. Trying to shape that bowl. I haven't changed my bait yet, so I'm gonna try and get all my bait cuts done quickly. There's a lot of strategy here, man. I feel like this is freaking Beat Bobby Flay or like Kate Moore or something.
I was thinking the same thing. You gotta race the clock.
George, you
30 minutes is
post
nothing.
like, woo!
Right? I don't know, dude. You gotta do what you gotta do. All right, buddy.
All right.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Put the porting tool down.
This round is over. And to spit all over the place.
Man, you're over here sanding, man.
My strategy might have been different than yours, so I did the big cut the whole time, then I went to the small one, and I still didn't really feel like I wanted to use the big one again, so I just threw the sander in there. I got as much as I could do. So Laz is gonna be the judge. Let's blow this out. We'll kind of showcase the differences, and then plus, you know, we'll talk about guide work, bowl work, all appearance, what you think is gonna make the most power, all that junk. So let's blow this out, and
we'll see what you think.
yeah, man.
Ready to make some power?
See what you think, pal.
Jeremy didn't take near as much off the guides.
Did I? Laz is critiquing. George's is the top port, and we're doing George's right now, talking about overall. And I like your exhaust port, looks pretty good. You pretty much came about to the same area where I did.
There's a little peak on the short-term radius right here. These guides are cut down flush, which is an interesting technique. It's employed by a lot of porters.
It's a ricer thing. I'm pretty much a natural born ricer.
I second that. He is.
You can see the carbon like right at the edge of the bowl and making that seat. So that's where your bowl blend comes in, or lack of in George's case. -2 points.
Oh man, wow.
Finish on the guides is really rough. I mean, you got good shape on the exhaust port. One side seems to be a little bit more material than the other. Take it out.
All right, so overall, what are you gonna give him overall on a grade?
So
on
1 out of 10. 7.5.
Oh, that's a fair assessment. George, are you happy with that?
Not at all.
Not at all? Okay. All right, so now it's time to judge mine.
Did you do much sanding, George?
I didn't do any sanding at all.
Yours is almost as smooth as Jeremy's sanding.
Dang, ouch.
Jeremy's bowl blend is good. I don't feel any edges on the seat. Those are good.
This is totally turned into Forged in Fire style right here. I like it. I'm digging it.
This we do have a short turn radius issue here.
So
Feel
yeah,
the difference between those two.
Yep. So I have a peak right here, which is not favorable, and this one is definitely a little bit more smooth.
You definitely
Instead of
want-
having that nice perfect radius, I got a peak on.
To get an even flow number, you got to keep everything
Indeed,
the same.
indeed.
The guides, you just narrowed yours, and you cut a little bit more on the back side to try to open up the top of the runner around the guide. It looks like George just kind of chopped his off.
So as we can see, the carbon marks of George's right there and of mine right there. So I did try and take areas around there. However, George was more aggressive on the front side nose of the guide. So it's kind of like 6 in one, half dozen in the other.
Now, do you know how thick this casting is here?
I don't, but I figured I
George's
had.
pretty safe,
Yeah,
and you went pretty aggressive.
not being aggressive didn't make a hero out of no one.
All right, so being aggressive, you haven't visually gotten any kind of water jacket.
No.
Unfortunately, when you start sanding, you can find out that you did get into it.
Yeah.
Not realize.
What do
Port
you
size, you want a little bit bigger on the ports. This one, I'm worried it's a little bit too big in areas. Your intake runner does look a little bit better.
All right, Judge.
A 9.
A 9? No way.
A 9 out of 10? What are you talking about?
So Jeremy does sign the checks.
I thought that was
This
going to
is
come
a
into play.
bias.
I thought that was going to. Come on. I thought that was going to come into play.
Flow mode. God's
Um,
honest truth.
All right. So what? What do we got? A final number?
I mean, I'm giving you a higher number than George's. So what do you want? 8.5?
All right. This is honestly, this is a lot of fun, and I like the 30-minute challenge too, because it was definitely difficult, and I will admit it's my porting muscle's a little bit more it's a little bit tired, and here's the other thing too. I've got a ton more experience than George, but when he has his time, he cranks out a freaking beautiful and powerful product. So
You think you can do this all day long like George does sometimes?
I don't.
You won that challenge.
I think I've got a little older. Well, anyhow, Georgie, very good competitor. That was a fun battle. We'll see how this thing makes power, we're going to throw the engine back together, and we got a number of other things that we're going to try and optimize. Wanted to keep this thing on an ultra tight budget. Did not want a V8 swap this anywhere near yet. Our other car though, hopefully sometime in the next coming months we may. That was a hell of a lot of fun. Hope you guys learned something in the process here. We'll bring you a bunch more challenges coming up sometime soon. So guys, thank you so much for watching. God bless you. We'll see you next time.